Hey, Chandler here. Wanted to give my quick thoughts on the first half of Crisis on Infinite Earths, this year's Arrowverse crossover. This will be spoiler-filled. This is intended for people that have watched the episodes. So if you haven't watched them, click away, go watch the episodes, then come back, join in. With that said, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your take on it. What did you think about the plot, the storytelling, the cameos? What were your favorite cameos? All of that fun stuff. Spoil away down below in the comment section. This is a spoiler-filled video. With that said, I'll just kind of go into my thoughts and my feelings on it. General impression, it was basically exactly kind of what I was expecting it to be, and that's probably not a good thing. I was expecting it to be a thing that both has like a massive scope to it, but feels very claustrophobic at the same time, that it touches on a ton of things very superficially. It has a lot of fun cameos, a lot of fun what-if scenarios, that the scenes themselves I got a big kick out of. But when it comes to the actual story of it all, the narrative tying it together, and especially the storytelling, I just don't think it's very good. Like I said, seeing Tom Welling show up in Arrowverse for just even this one scene, if that's all it really is for all of this, it's a great little scene that I had a lot of fun with. But it feels like a what-if scenario, and it feels like they had, you know, a very loose script, and they went, okay, what can we do for this episode? Or Lex Luthor shows up, and then he's going to start killing people off. So which people can we get to say yes to do a cameo for a scene? How much can they commit to? Okay, you'll do one scene. Okay, he shows up, and this is the scenario for that. But it's not like this compelling arc throughout the entire thing. That's just what the whole thing felt like, that they have a very loose outline of the story, and they're just plopping in these cameos in little what-if scenarios. Cool sequences. Cool to see Tom Welling, Kevin Conroy show up, and all the other kind of crazy ones that were thrown in the mix, the little ones, the big ones, all of it. But the story, it's just not there. And some of it's really bizarre what they've been doing with it. So the first episode, they set up a scenario where Argo City's about to be destroyed. And they have a scenario where Clark's got a baby, and he has to do the Zor-El and take his child, put it in the rocket, send the child off to save the child. And so you think, oh, wow, that was pretty cool that he, you know, the little mirroring inside of that. And then a scene later, it's like, surprise, but Superman didn't die. What? So that scene doesn't, it doesn't play quite right if you're doing that. And even, you know, then he gets sent off, and you see him, he ends up at 2046 with depressed Oliver and one of the other timelines, and it just didn't really go anywhere. The child saved immediately, Clark is saved immediately, and so they did kind of this whole thing that didn't feel like it paid off. It didn't feel consequential. It just kind of happened inside of it. That's what so much of this just feels like, of these very odd little rabbit trails. And then when it comes to the most important stuff, it just kind of happens. And I had some people on Twitter that were debating this with me a week or two ago. They're like, this is the end game of the DC. Like, it's really not. I get it's a big crossover, that it's a massive, and I get that side to it, the comparison in that regard. But when it comes to what Endgame actually stands for, the preparation that went into it, the writing and everything, they were still locking in cameos in like July. Like less than 6 months ago, Michael Rosenbaum is on Twitter saying, hey, they called me. I was visiting my grandma. They told me they needed an answer and on the phone call, and I just couldn't do that, so I'm not going to be in it. So that's where they were at over the summertime. So that's very different from what they did in the writing preparation for Endgame, and that's entirely what this feels like to me. So I can't say I'm like disappointed, because this is what I expected it to be. A bunch of fanfare, kind of fun moments, and all of it feeling just so inconsequential while at the same time destroying universes. In the part 3 of it, they have a sequence where Lois Lane is like, we're down to only 7 Earths left. The universes are just getting destroyed, and I'll never even get to write the story about it. And you're like, what? You'll never get to write the story about it? What are you talking about? universes are being destroyed. The story, that's so far, like, not the important detail in this. That's what, like, saying something like that seemed like it was supposed to be, like, this poignant moment that it just kind of, it didn't make a lot of sense in the context. And then even we get to the finale of this episode, which is they're trying to stop the ribbon from destroying Earth 1. And so they have kind of this neat sequence inside of it with Flash 90, so the Flash from my childhood, John Wesley's ship. And, you know, the only person I've ever gone to a Comic-Con and gotten a picture taken with him was John Wesley's ship, Flash 1990. And so then he's kind of built into it, and Barry's supposed to sacrifice himself, and Earth 90 Flash steps in and he says he'll do it. And they even do show a little clip from the show. And, you know, on certain levels, that's really cool. And the flip side to it, the way that they stopped this ribbon in this big, massive event, the crisis, how are we going to stop it from destroying Earth 1? He runs on a treadmill and sacrifices himself. You know, it's just a little bit different from Captain America summoning Mjolnir and putting the beat down on Thanos by himself, and then the portals open and everybody comes. It's a little bit different, a guy running on a treadmill. And of course, I know budget different. Like, I fully understand all of that. But it just feels like when they instead of having their focus being, let's have like a very tightly woven story script with appropriate payoffs, the cameos were the priority. Which means the scenes are fun, and the storytelling just feels like who really cares about this? Like, it just doesn't, it's not compelling as a story. And, oh yeah, I forgot the weirdest one they did. So the whole season of Arrow has been building towards Oliver's death, and then so he dies at the first episode of Crisis, and you're like, okay, I mean, we know he's not really going to die. We know that he's coming back immediately. So the weight of him dying is gone, but we also know we're going to spend the next however many episodes trying to bring him back, in which case that likewise feels like we're wasting Oliver and Oliver's final stretch. And it's just like odd things like that. That it's what these decisions, I just don't understand them. The second episode inside of it has 3 plot lines, each of which is episode worthy in and of itself. It's not 3 subplots with one main plot. Like, it's 3 massive plot lines. We have Lex Luthor showing up and jumping through the multiverse, killing Superman. That is a plot in and of itself. Them trying to resurrect Oliver. This is a plot in and of itself. Them going and seeing Kevin Conroy, Batman of the future, who's turned into the Punisher and killed Superman. This is a plot in and of itself. And each of them just kind of turn into these little 12-minute little mini stories. And that's the issue. They didn't, it's about the little what if. It's not about a big, overarching, compelling story. It's all shortchanged into these little, bite-sized pieces so you can fit all the characters in and all the different elements. And inherently, when you do that, you feel disappointed. Or I went in kind of expecting this, so I can't say I felt disappointed, but it certainly isn't like this massive thing that I think is amazing. It's a bunch of fun cameos and fun what-if situations and fun scenes strung together with a plot that I don't find to be, it's probably not going to be very rewatchable for me. So that's my first half. I wish I loved it. I didn't think I was going to. I didn't. Maybe some of you guys did. Twitter seems to be pretty torn as to where they fall on it. Some people saying they love it. A bunch of people saying it's absolute garbage. Not full garbage, but I'm not too much above that either, unfortunately. Sorry, I wish I loved it more. I just... these choices they make. So that's my take on it. Tell me what you thought down below in the comment section, and keep talking movies and TV too much.